Ever wonder how America ended up with global influence? For decades, the United States has shaped alliances, brokered treaties, and propelled economic trends around the world. From forging post-war institutions to spreading investment, America's reach goes far beyond its borders. This video breaks down American roles on the international stage, exploring diplomatic, military, and economic aspects. Ready to discover what's really going on behind the headlines? Political influence is more than plain power. America uses soft power, such as cultural exports and tech innovation, to shape global norms. Meanwhile, mutual defense pacts like NATO extend U.S. security commitments overseas. Countries that partner with the United States often gain economic and security incentives, but must also balance ties with other powers. Curious how these alliances reshape the ever-evolving global order today and tomorrow. Economic might also underpins Washington's reach. With the dollar as a reserve currency, the United States exercises immense unparalleled financial leverage. Its multinational corporations expand consumer culture worldwide, while American capital markets lure global investment. Yet these economic ties can bring critiques of over-reliance and inequity. How do emerging powers respond to U.S. influence in an interconnected global marketplace that values both profit and strategic advantage? Military strategy is a major piece of America's global role. With bases worldwide, U.S. forces project power far beyond national borders. These deployments can deter aggression, assist allies, or conduct humanitarian aid. However, critics question potential overreach and unintended consequences. As regions like the Middle East and Asia-Pacific evolve, the impact of U.S. military engagements remains hotly debated. Which interests truly drive these international missions forward? Diplomatic efforts can be equally influential. American-led treaties set global agendas, from climate talks to trade negotiations. These pacts signal unity across borders, but can also reflect unequal bargaining power. Smaller nations may rely on U.S. involvement, yet worry about overshadowed interests. Whether forging new partnerships or reshaping old ones, diplomats face complex challenges. How might the U.S. recalibrate its role to address modern geopolitical realities? Power struggles aren't just about governments. Global activism and public opinion influence the success of U.S. policies abroad. Civil groups, international organizations, and even social media movements can shape how American actions are perceived. Will these voices transform U.S. interventions? As people worldwide speak up, the White House must navigate cultural nuances. Diplomacy now demands more than official channels, raising questions about accountability and shared responsibility. Technology also shifts the balance. The United States spearheads much of advanced research, shaping trends in cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and space exploration. In this tech-driven era, controlling data flow becomes a form of power, raising concerns about privacy and digital sovereignty. Could shaping online norms become as pivotal as forging military alliances? As nations compete in innovation, Washington's tech leadership remains crucial, but challengers rapidly emerge. The legacy of past interventions complicates America's image abroad. From the Cold War era to recent conflicts, overseas involvement leaves impressions. Some see the United States as a beacon of support, while others recall interventions that destabilized regions. Reconciling these narratives is essential for building trust. Does a superpower's history of actions overshadow any positive initiatives? Understanding that question is key to grasping today's geopolitical dynamics. Humanitarian aid and development programs are crucial components of American power. Whether responding to disasters or boosting educational projects, the U.S. uses soft influence to foster goodwill. Critics, however, argue that such assistance can mask self-interest or create dependency. True altruism or strategic advantage? Which perspective resonates more accurately? As communities voice their preferences, the future of U.S. foreign aid may hinge on transparency and collaboration. Regional powers increasingly challenge American leadership. Rising economies like China, India, and Brazil pursue independent courses, reshaping global governance structures. This shift tests Washington's ability to adapt in a world no longer defined by unipolar dominance. Will collaboration or rivalry define U.S. relations with these expanding players? Observers argue that forging mutual respect could open constructive pathways, but conflicting national interests might complicate any shared approach. International institutions also play a role. Bodies like the United Nations, World Bank, and IMF depend heavily on American leadership and funding. Yet critics claim these platforms echo U.S. agendas, limiting genuine multilateral input. As demands for reform escalate, the United States must consider fairer policies to maintain credibility. How will these institutions evolve if the U.S. recalibrates its influence or if emerging powers assert themselves? Balancing domestic priorities with global responsibilities is a persistent challenge for the U.S. Public sentiment can shift based on economic conditions or political leadership, driving calls for isolation or renewed engagement. Leaders walking this tightrope must justify costly commitments abroad while tackling issues at home. Will inward focus undermine diplomatic ventures? Finding equilibrium may define America's future influence as citizens demand clarity on foreign policy objectives. Changing ideologies at home can alter the global stance. Progressive voices might emphasize multilateral action, human rights, or climate initiatives. Conservative movements often favor national sovereignty and selective partnerships. As U.S. politics shift, foreign allies must reevaluate their expectations. Do domestic debates limit Washington's reliability on the world stage, or encourage more inclusive policymaking? Every new administration's worldview can deeply reshape the rules of international engagement. Where do you see America's evolving role in world affairs? As alliances change and new challenges arise, every global citizen has a stake in these transformations. Are you eager for deeper insights on international power shifts? Join the conversation by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Your engagement fuels fresh perspectives and truly fosters dialogue that shapes informed viewpoints. Let's explore the complicated landscape of U.S. politics together.